So the big question is this: do you really know how to apologize? Well, today I want to share the importance of the language of apology and share some insights. My name is Joan Nwosu, and welcome to the Second Chances podcast, a love journey in black and white. At some point in our life, generally, especially in relationships, we would need to apologize for things that we have done. And apologies are not just words. They are bridges that rebuild a bond, that rebuild a broken heart or hurt, right? But the truth is, not all apologies are created equal. And I'm sure you know, because you have received apologies where you're like, no, that is not an apology. So it's important to understand and be able to effectively use the correct language of apology so that you can transform conflicts into profound opportunities for growth between you and your partner. So I want to dive into some of the nuances when it comes to apologizing sincerely, the art of forgiveness, and how these acts of vulnerability can lead to a much, much deeper and resilient relationship. So to start with, let's unpack the 5 languages of apology as outlined by Gary Chapman, who I love, and Jennifer Thomas. So these 5 include expressing regret, accepting responsibility, making restitution, genuinely repenting, and requesting forgiveness. Each person, each of us, has a primary apology language that resonates with us the most. So it's important for you to understand yours so that you can communicate that, but also more importantly, understand your partner's language, because it can make your apology more meaningful, right? More acceptable by them. So let's dive in. Expressing regret is about acknowledging the pain caused. So not just about the act that you did, but referring to the pain that you caused. So if someone says, I felt hurt, you should say, well, I'm sorry I hurt you, right? And then demonstrating that you understand the emotional impact of your actions or your words or whatever it is that has led to the conflict. So not just saying, oh, I'm sorry I didn't call you. Say, I'm sorry I hurt you by not calling you because you were waiting up for my call and expecting me to call. I'm sorry I hurt you, right? So you're focusing a lot on the way you made the person feel. So that's the first one, expressing regret. To take it a step further, you now need to accept responsibility, right? So it's beyond just saying, I'm sorry I hurt you, but now it's admitting that you were at fault with no excuses. You were at fault. So it's a simple, straightforward, I was wrong. That's simple. I was wrong. I'm sorry I hurt you, right? So accepting responsibility for some people, that is the key. Accept responsibility. Don't just apologize for what has happened. What did you do wrong? Say you did something wrong, and that's really important to them. The third one is around making restitution. So this involves asking, okay, I'm sorry I hurt you. I was wrong. What can I do to make it right? Right? It's about restoring what was lost, if possible. What can I do to make it right? When you genuinely repent of an action, it's not just about saying, I'll try to do better. No, it's about you, because now you're asking them, what would you like me to do? You taking the steps, having a real plan to actually change that behavior, because now you've acknowledged how it hurts your partner or whatever emotion they feel when it happens, right? And then finally, requesting for forgiveness. This is where you ask, can you forgive me? Very heavy words, but very impactful. And again, it's about knowing the other person's apology language so that you can speak to it so that they really honor and believe and accept your apology. Can you forgive me? So every relationship is unique. So take the time to make sure that you understand how it works for your relationship and apply it accordingly. right? But let's not forget, forgiveness is so key. So even though you've forgiven someone or they've forgiven you, it doesn't mean that they're condoning or you're condoning the action, like a hurtful action. No. Forgiveness is always about freeing yourself from the burden of bitterness and resentment. It's something that you give to yourself. So be open to forgiveness. When someone has apologized the right way and they have, if it's important to you, they have a plan to take the necessary actions or steps to make sure it doesn't repeat itself, be willing to forgive them so that you can free yourself and be free from that situation and move forward. You really can't move on if you're still holding on to some anger or waiting for a future time to bring it up again. No, forgive and let it go. So I want to share about me because I've always apologized in one way. And I found that in my past relationships, it would usually work. The way I'll just apologize, okay, I'm sorry, and that was it. But then with David, we had a conflict, an argument, and he just kept escalating. And the more I said, I'm sorry, it was just, I didn't think he was hearing me. And so the breakthrough moment came when I remembered some of these other apology languages and decided to try a different one, right? And I was able to figure out the one that really spoke to his heart. And the moment I said it, he softened up immediately, and he was like, it's fine, you know. And for him, it's like planning never to do it again, right? It's not just about, I'm sorry for the action now, but yeah, so how are you going to make it right? And so it was really, really key to understand that and to keep practicing that, right? Taking responsibility, outlining the steps that will prevent it from happening in the future. It was quite a humbling experience. But you see, when you learn the lesson, when you learn how to do this, then you have true power where conflict and arguments don't have to keep going on forever and ever. Now you have the tools to apologize correctly and to gain forgiveness. Or if it's flipped, then you can also forgive the person. So this is something that I practice all the time, and it has really, really helped my relationship and been able to foster our growth so that we can move on from conflict pretty quickly. Mastering these apology languages, not easy. Embracing forgiveness, especially if you've been hurt over and over again, it's not easy. So I'm not trying to minimize any of these things, but they do take practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable you are with it, and then it just becomes second nature to you, right? It requires you to be vulnerable. I get that, but vulnerability is so key to form deeper connections with anyone, especially with your partner. So keep trying, keep practicing, and just keep doing it, and you will find that it will become second nature the more you do it, and you will just see how it frees the other person up when you apologize in the language that they understand. It's so easy because now they actually hear you. Not a case of, are you sure you're apologizing? Do you really mean it? Or tomorrow they bring it back up because they didn't really believe or accept the previous apology. So learning how to do this will really, really help and solidify your relationships going forward. I've seen and I've spoken to many people who one argument that could have ended with a good apology escalated and even almost led to breakups. And some have even led to breakups. Because rather than the apology being accepted, it escalated the issue even more, because now it was like, you're not even apologizing. Look at how you're apologizing. You don't really mean your apology. And then it just escalates and escalates, and sometimes they're never able to recover from that argument. So I hope that with sharing some of these tips with you today, you have a tool in your arsenal of how to apologize in relationships so that you can handle conflict when it shows up. Because conflict must show up if you're in a relationship. Must. You cannot avoid it. No one escapes conflict. But at least now you have some tools to be able to navigate them. So let me know, which one is your own apology language? Which one resonates with you the most, right? And then keep practicing so that if you're in a relationship, you can practice it. Or if you're single, at least you can practice the tools now so that when you do get into a relationship, you know how to navigate it. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening to today's episode on the Second Chances podcast, A Love Journey in Black and White. Remember, no matter what, never give up on love. Till next time, sending you love and light.